Hello everyone and welcome to our training today. Today we're talking about SBA loans during the coronavirus. We're actually going to be talking about exactly what is available now with SBA. As many of you know, SBA system just had about $50 billion injected into it to help all of us entrepreneurs with obtaining financing through the coronavirus crisis. So I'm going to talk more about that. By the end of this, you're going to know everything you need to know to tap into the $50 billion. You're going to know what it takes to qualify. You're going to know how to get the money. You're going to know the rates, the terms, the payments that you're able to get, everything involved, so you'll be able to know if this is the right product for you. And I'll talk about a lot of other alternatives if for any reason you can't qualify for this $50 billion. We'll talk about a lot of other money that's becoming available and other money that's becoming available daily, state by state, for all of us. Those that don't know me, my name is Crandall. I'm CEO at CreditSuite, and this is what we help business owners do, is obtain capital. So we have extra team members right now finding all the funding available in each state for you, digging more into all these new programs that are coming out, and we will be doing more and more and more live streams to keep you informed of what's changing and how to access this capital. If we can help you along the way, if any of this makes sense, if you want to apply for an SBA loan, then I went ahead and put a link at the bottom, creditsuite.com/get funding. We work with a ton of different SBA lenders. Some work better with different industries, etc., so we can help you find the right home. Also, you can give us a ring at 877-600-2487. A little late starting today because I was trying to put this phone number on our slides, but I'm not a graphics person, so I didn't do the best job of that. So let's talk a little bit about this. So obviously our world is changing right now. Okay, a lot of things are happening. A lot of people are still unsure of what to do and wondering, kind of what's going to change, or even are you really able to survive during this time? So if you're kind of in this boat where you have all of this uncertainty, then I want you to know that this is absolutely normal. Okay, a lot of people are dealing with exactly the same kind of uncertainty right now. Okay, so if that is you, then please understand that a lot of people are dealing with exactly the same thing at this moment in time. Okay, so that being said, conditions are changing on the fly. Okay, 5 states have already closed restaurants and bars, and by the time I'm actually doing this was as of yesterday, this may have even changed. Okay, in Florida, as of yesterday, for example, nightclubs are shut down for 30 days. Nightclubs. Okay, so we have nightclubs and a couple other late night kind of type of facilities are actually shut down, where they're not even able to come in and operate at all for the next 30 days. So we're already starting to see a lot of these changes. Others are limiting gatherings. We're starting to see a lot where, even 10 people gathering in one place is now going to be restricted. You're not able to do these kind of things. So any of these kind of businesses, if you're in a business that's affected by this, so for example, one of my friends owns a med spa, and we went to her facility the other day and it was empty. People were too scared to even walk into her door. So this is happening in a lot of places. A lot of businesses are obviously being affected, even more as this continues to grow. So there's great news though. Right, interest rates. If you've heard, the Fed has cut the interest rate to zero, or their rate to 0%. So what this means is you're going to find out, when we talk about SBA loans rate SBA loan rates, is that it's more affordable now to be able to tap into this kind of financing than ever before. So that's definitely a very good positive for all of us. Okay, there's never been a better time to borrow, but you need to know that there is a limited window here. Okay, you can still get money within 24 hours. You can still get money from alternative lenders. You can still get money from the big banks. Okay, so it's a great time, but I need to explain what's happening. At the same time, the system is becoming overwhelmed. So for example, I just heard from some of our broker and lender partners that lenders aren't even accepting broker applications unless you're what we call a super broker. So like CreditSuite is known as a super broker because we do a lot of volume. But a normal broker that does a deal here and there, a lot of the lenders aren't even accepting applications from them because the system itself is overwhelmed. So I'm going to say this throughout today. There is a window to be able to tap in and get this money, but it is a limited window. What's happening is the system will quickly start to become overwhelmed, and that will mean it's very difficult to get the money, or very difficult to get the money in a timely fashion. So these are things that we have to look out for. Now, the Fed just released 2 types of lending programs to help. And I mean just released, by the time I'm filming this today here on March 18th, this was yesterday that this took place. And I'm going to explain to you what it means, but I'm going to give you some kind of overview as well. Okay, they'll buy what they call commercial paper. paper, which is short-term promissory notes, since buyers are now disappearing, which is doubling rates. So what's happening is the way that money is bought and sold, a lot of places originate loans, and then that money is sold on the secondary market. Now that's just a really loose look at how kind of some of the system works. But what's happening is a lot of the buyers aren't buying that paper. So what happened was the Fed just released a program to come in and buy this paper, because what was happening is the rates that people were getting were double on the money, meaning there were fewer people buying these loans, and so the ones that were buying loans were doubling the rate. So it was jacking rates up, which is the exact opposite of what we're trying to accomplish right now. So what happens is with this move, it helps reduce the possibility of a cash crunch that would prevent companies from getting the money they need. So basically the Fed is stepping in, and what they're doing is buying a lot of this paper, so then the banks and the credit issuers have more money to continue to lend to you. So the Treasury Secretary said the central bank would be able to buy about $1 trillion worth of this paper as needed. So again, the government is setting it up to be able to buy this, to be able to make sure that other lenders and credit issuers have the ability to lend you money. Now they're also rolling out a new primary dealer's credit facility, which allows banks to give short-term loans they need to buy and hold securities, including corporate bonds. So a quote here on this is, the facility will allow primary dealers to support smooth market functioning and facilitate the availability of credit to businesses and households. Okay, the Fed says about the program. Now they also sweeten the terms of its discount window, which allows banks to tap short-term loans from the Fed. Okay, so for example, what this means is it means that in comparison, if this was done all of last year, the balance sheet of the 6 biggest banks would be $2.8 trillion larger. Okay, so what all this means is this. The bottom line is the federal government stepping in and making it easier for lenders and credit issuers to lend money. That's what all this means. And I wanted to give you some of the official terms and what all these things are being said, but that's what it comes down to, is the Fed is creating new programs to basically open up and provide liquidity in the markets so credit issuers and lenders can continue to lend us money. Because we quickly started to see that lenders started to tighten up. They started to stop getting more applications. It became, the window was very short to get in and get your money before things started to close up. Well, the government's now come in and dumped a lot of money in. You're talking about trillions of dollars here being thrown around. So in doing so, it's making it easier for us to tap into the capital that we need. So I want to give you some great news, right? A lot of you are watching this thinking it's bad news with the coronavirus, but the government's doing a very good job so far from what I'm seeing of stepping in and trying to provide liquidity to us through multiple different programs, including the SBA that we're talking about now. SBA loans, obviously fantastic option right now. So they just poured $50 billion in to the government for relief. To give you an idea, this doubles the amount of funding that the SBA system has. It doubles the amount of money that SBA can now lend. And we're going to talk about SBA's role in the lending process. Okay, the SBA is waiving upfront fees for applicants and the bank. So they're not charging fees to you, they're not charging fees to the bank. So that makes it easier on you and the bank to actually be able to come in and be able to get the money that you need. Okay, now SBA is now permitted to exercise available authority. They will provide loans to businesses affected by the coronavirus to help overcome disruptions. This is called disaster relief. Now there's 2 things you need to know about disaster relief. It's very important for you as an entrepreneur. One, we're going to see it on a federal level here, as we've seen, where they're pouring the money into SBA, relying on SBA to distribute those funds. And we're going to talk about how to get those funds today. The second is you need to know on a local level. There are cities, there are counties, especially states, that are providing this kind of relief on a statewide basis. So let me give you an example. 2 days ago, Florida, actually yesterday I believe, Florida just opened up a $50,000 interest-free loan for business owners that are affected by the coronavirus in the state of Florida. Okay, so a lot of these states are rolling this out, and what we're going to do is we're going to be working to gather all the information about every state and program that they're rolling out, and I will come back and do a webinar on that. We're even going to have a blog post that will be updated in real time as more states offer more funding. So just keep tuned, okay, because soon, if you're not on our email list, you can go to creditsuite.com/EIN. CreditSuite.com/EIN. Get a great free guide on building business credit, and then we will notify people on our list when this blog post becomes available that in real time we will keep updated of every single state and the disaster relief funding that's available for entrepreneurs in that state. We're in the process of researching and building that right now. So you want to keep track of both. What's happening on the federal level, the SBA loans, okay? And the second, you need to pay attention to your state because there's going to be opportunities that are going to present themselves statewide as well. Now, the president's calling on Congress to increase funding for this program as well. And the intent's to make 30 million small businesses more resilient to coronavirus-related economic disruption. They're trying to help us all. That's how many businesses the Fed actually says right now are in the United States. It's about 30 million. So what they're trying to do is provide a way for all of us to get relief. Again, we're seeing it on a state, we're seeing it on a federal level. So now when we talk about these SBA loans, now I'm going to give you two different sets of numbers today. I'm going to give you normal SBA numbers, what you can typically get from the SBA system, which you absolutely can get right now. We're in the process of applying for an SBA loan. We had another SBA loan. We've already started the process before the coronavirus had come. Okay, and they said, don't remove your application, don't apply anywhere else, you'll start over, stay in line where you are right now. So there's the normal SBA funding, and then there's this disaster relief funding that's just released. The terms are a little bit different between the two, so I'm going to give you terms on both. So I don't want it to be confusing because you're going to see some terms today and say, well, wait a second, 5 slides ago you said something different. It's because there's a difference between the disaster relief funding and the non. The disaster relief funding, loans are available to $2 million, okay, for those that are hit economically. Loans can be used to pay debts that can't be paid because of the outbreak's impact, payroll, accounting payable, other bills. Why I'm telling you this is because when you apply for an SBA loan, you have to dictate what the purpose of the money is. Now, there's a lot of funding. So, for example, we offer a fantastic credit line that people are grabbing right now, where you can get $150,000 in financing, 0% interest rate, no doc, no bank statements, no tax returns, strictly based on personal credit with a 650 FICO score. Okay, so if that makes sense to you, I put the number, our phone number at the bottom of the slides, 877-600-2487. You can go directly to our approval link, CreditSuite.com/get funding. Either way, we can help you get approved for $150,000 in credit lines, 0% rate. If you have a 650 credit score, have a guarantor that does. That kind of financing doesn't have to have a purpose. You don't have to tell the financial sources where you're spending the money. You could just get 150,000 credit lines and just have them available if you need them. But with SBA, you have to tell them what you're using the funds for. So what they're basically saying is that you can now use these funds for all kinds of things that normally you couldn't get SBA loans for just because you're impacted by the coronavirus. So for example, it wouldn't fly to go to SBA at a normal loan and say, I'm trying to get a loan just to pay my payroll. SBA would be like, no thank you, we're not going to lend you money based on that purpose because you're about ready to go out of business. But when it comes to disaster loans, they expect that you're getting the money for things like paying your bills and payroll. So they're opening up the amount of reasons that you can actually get this kind of working capital to use for your business. Basically, it's easier to get. Rates are as low as 3.75. So these disaster relief loans are at 3.75% for for-profit companies. They are at 2.75% for non-profit companies. You know if you're a for-profit or a non-profit. Loan terms are available at 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. Very important. Here's why. When it comes to getting financing for your business, you need to know that your term, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 1 year, 3 years, weighs in much more to your payment than the interest rate. Okay, I would rather have a longer term and a higher interest rate all day long because that would still give me a lower payment. So when it comes to getting money for your business right now, you need to really pay attention to any options you have that give you the longest financing terms. And in this case, you're able to get about $30,000. Okay, and Joy says, please, I need help, a new business startup. Joy, we'll talk about some options, but the credit line option I just gave you works great for startups, and so does business credit. Rolanda's chiming in, says, I was declined last week for tornado SBA disaster loan. Good credit, but debt to ratio too high. Give us a call, Rolanda. Let us see what we can do to help you. 877-600-2487. Gloria says, should a partner use that phone number for the $150,000 credit line? If you're a partner with us now, you can tap in to your partner success number. You could call them. You can call your finance finance officer, or you could call our main sales team, our main number. Whatever will work. Any of those options can work for you. And Shirt Tech says, can we use it to buy new trucks for my transportation company? Yes, there is. And if you want to know about more funding for transportation companies, look at facebook.com/CreditSuite. We just did a live stream on specific funding that works for trucking companies probably last week or the week before. So that option can work for you as well. Back to where we were talking about. Loan terms up to 30 years. Here's an example. If you got this loan on a 30-year loan at 3.75% as a for-profit company and got $350,000, your payment would be $1,600 a month roughly. Now here's why I tell you specifically $350,000. As you're about to find out, okay, $350,000 and less is where you want to be. It's the sweet spot. It's where you're going to get the best chance of getting money fast. If you get above $350,000, things get a little tricky, as we're going to see. So yes, you can get these loans up to $2 million, but they get tricky when we're above $350,000, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So markets are tightening up. There's limited window to access the money. Lenders are already asking and looking at weekly financial statements instead of monthly. It's because once revenue starts to fall, it becomes really tough to get money. I've been saying this. I will scream and scream and scream about this for weeks to come. I've been through the 2008 recession. I wasn't in financial services. I was in mortgages. Worst place to be. Okay, I waited too long to get money, and when I went to go apply, the window was closed. My ability to get money was closed, and I lost the business as a result. Going through an economic disaster before, I can tell you the number one thing you need to do is get money and get it immediately. You need to start applying for the money. You need to access credit lines. You need to get it right away because markets will tighten up. So for example, people think that 0% rates are really good. But the problem is that banks can't make as much money when rates are at 0%. They want to make more money. Okay, so even them, they tend to tighten up a little in time because they're trying to hold on to more money to make it at a higher rate. It's unfortunate that it happens. So I can go on and on for an hour and tell you all the reasons that markets tighten up. But they will tighten up. It will become more difficult to get money. As tens of thousands of businesses are applying for this kind of financing, it will take longer to get the money as well. And once your revenue stops or starts declining, then there's all kinds of other financing options which can work for you right now today, but that won't be able to work for you once that happens. So for example, one of the biggest, most popular kind of financing right now for entrepreneurs is called cash flow financing. It's also called a revenue factoring, revenue financing, merchant cash advances. This kind of money just looks at the revenue in your bank account, and they make sure that if it's consistent, that you could borrow money based just on that and get $500,000 advanced to you within 48 hours based just on having consistent revenue, okay? But the problem is once your revenue starts to decline, then all those options go away. Not all your options, but that kind of option goes away. So for example, in Florida, restaurants are still open for business. You can still go and have a restaurant here and your sales might not be declining. But if they come with the quarantine next week, then all of a sudden your sales go to absolute zero. Okay, and if that happens, then it becomes much harder to get a lot of this kind of financing. Disaster relief financing may still be there, but other kind of financing is not going to be. So it becomes very important that you act quickly before these revenues start to fall. So remember, SBA does not actually lend money. They determine loan guidelines and they guarantee these loans. So you need to keep this in mind. There's two things. People want to know, where do I go to get this money? Well, first of all, you can go to any major bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, etc. There are some brokers that specialize just in SBA as well. You could give us a ring, 877-600-2487, creditsuite.com/get funding. We work with a lot of different kind of SBA lenders because a trucker is going to go to a different lender than somebody that's an accountant. It's just the way that it is. Different lenders are better for you than other SBA lenders. So if you're working with a source like us, we work with all of these different SBA lenders to find the right lender for you, or you can go directly to a bank and hope that you meet their criteria. But the reason this is important is that you've got two sets of guidelines you have to qualify for. You have to qualify for what SBA determines is a loan they will accept, and you also have to qualify for that bank's guidelines as well. So if you go into Bank of America and apply, then you have to meet their requirements and you have to also meet SBA's SBA's requirements. There's two sets of requirements. And this is why it makes sense to work with a company like CreditSuite, where we have a work with a bunch of different kind of SBA lenders, because you might not meet Bank of America's requirements, but you might meet Chase's. And you might not meet Chase's, but you might meet some small regional bank standards in the middle of Iowa. And that's why you want to work with a source that works with all of these different SBA lenders, because you need that flexibility based on your industry, time in business, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so that being said, SBA doesn't lend money typically. They do have something called a 7M program, okay, and that is a micro. M stands for micro. They do offer micro loans up to $30,000, but so that is a possibility. If you want to get small loans, they average $10,000, and the high is $30,000. You can get those from SBA. They're called SBA 7M loans, but most of the money SBA offers, including what I'm going to show you now, a 7A, which is what these disaster reliefs are. These disaster relief loans are 7A loans. Those aren't lent by SBA. They're lent by banks, and they're guaranteed by SBA. So just know that, because there's two sets of guidelines you're going to have to meet. Now, this is the most popular type of SBA loan that's out there. You've got to demonstrate a need for funds. We talked about this, and a sound business purpose in mind. But you've got to keep in mind that now it's easier to say that you're using the funds to meet payroll and to meet basic expenses, because that's what this disaster funding is for. So disaster funding opens up your use of funds, whereas things you wouldn't have typically been able to get an SBA loan for, you can now, because it's a disaster relief type of financing. 7A, it just means working capital. It just means you can use the money for general purposes. SBA's second most popular program is called an SBA 504, and that is for real estate. And why that's important is that right now a buddy of mine owns multiple martial arts studios, okay? He's getting an SBA 504 loan. We're doing that for him to refinance his building to lower his payment. So SBA 504 loans can be used to refinance your existing commercial real estate, and it can also be used to buy your existing real estate. Sometimes we're seeing that people are able to go and buy the piece of property that they're leasing or renting and lowering their overall payments. So if you're in a building and you need to be in a building to operate, know that those options are available as well. SBA 504, you could refinance the commercial real estate you have and save money, or you might even be able to buy the commercial real estate you're renting and save money there too. So a couple different things to keep in mind, or more ways you can actually save money there. Okay, 7A, interest. Let's talk about it. The current maximum interest rate ranges from 7.5% to 10%. Typically on SBA loans, I see interest rates of about 6 to 8%. Remember, these disaster loans are only 3.75% for profit. So it's almost half of what normal SBA interest rates are. Okay, it's determined on loan size and many other kind of risk, including credit, etc., etc. So with normal SBA loans, you can get loans up to $5 million. The max interest rate's 9.75%. The loan term is 10 to 30 years. Okay, the percentage guaranteed by SBA is 75 to 85%. Okay, and the SBA guarantee fee is 0 to 3.75%. Okay, so this is the fee that you're getting waived now. This is where this becomes so important. So we look at a $350,000 loan, for example, at $375,000, that could save you $7,000 in potential fee. So that could save you $7,000 in fee on $350,000 loan, because with the disaster loans, they're waiving this fee. But you also need to keep in mind they're waiving the bank's fee as well. So the bank doesn't have to pay that $7,000 per application, making it easier for banks to lend you money. So a nice comparison of what a regular SBA is going to look like, and compared to an SBA loan that is a disaster relief loan. And I've got some questions. Joy says, thanks for all your help. I'm new to this program. I've been learning so much. I will need help with the LLC. That's perfect. If we can help you, our numbers at the bottom of my slides here, and so's our quick link to get approved. Just give us a call. Okay, I need to find the video about getting funding for getting a semi. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/CreditSuite, go to our past videos, and you will clearly see our last video on fantastic funding for for over-the-road truckers. That's perfect. We just did that a week or so ago. That can help you. And Social Butterfly says, what if you don't meet the minimum credit score requirement? I'm going to help you here in a second. The short answer to you is that if you don't meet the requirements I'm about to teach you with SBA, then you need to go with another kind of funding instead. There's, for example, cash flow financing where you can get approved with a 500 credit score. There are term loans you can get approved with a 620 credit score. There's a credit guarantors you can use, a credit partner. So there's all kinds of options there for you if you don't meet SBA's credit score requirements. So let's talk about qualifying. There are a handful of main qualifications they're going to look at. I call these the 3 C's, and I don't care when you're thinking about getting money. It all comes down to this. There are three different ways, or 3 main factors that anybody looks at to give you money: cash flow, credit, and collateral. Now, what you need to be cautious of with SBA loans, and people have asked me, hey, do these disaster relief loans mean the qualifications have changed, reduced, or gone away? They haven't. SBA and the bank still has the same underwriting requirements to qualify for SBA loans. There's just other things that have changed, like the rates are lower, the fee is waived. Okay, you can get an SBA Express loan under $350,000 and get it faster, but you still have to meet their requirements. So they're going to look at your personal credit score. Now, I think SBA officially says their score requirement is 620, but they don't want any derogatory items that's on your credit report recent in the last 2 to 3 years. So from what we've found, you're typically going to want to have about a 680 FICO score or higher to get approved with SBA. Okay, they're going to want to look at your tax returns the last 3 years to verify your revenue. They're going to want you to have some kind of collateral. They're going to want you to have experience in your industry, and we'll talk about all these things. Okay, so they're going to need you to have a score of about 680 or higher. It's not your credit score that matters. It's that you can't have any recent derogatory items on there. You can't have any major derogatory items on there. Like a late payment with Bank of America could prevent you from getting a loan if it was a year ago. Even if your score is 780, it could still prevent you. They don't like late payments on major derogatory or major accounts like Bank of America, Chase, etc. Okay, so they want to see good credit. Okay, you're also going to need to have some established business credit. Look, I've been preaching about this for years. You need to build business credit so when times get tough, you have a business credit profile that makes it easy for you to go get the money you need. If you haven't taken that step, it's okay. It's not too late. Just give us a ring at 877-600-2487. We will help you with getting set up to build your business credit. Not only is business credit a necessity to get SBA loans, and here's what I mean by that. SBA looks at what is called a FICO SBSS score. It is FICO's small business score. The way FICO's small business score works, it looks at your commercial credit report scores first, your business credit reports. Then it starts looking at your personal credit reports. So if you have no established business credit, then your FICO SBSS score can't be high enough to even get an SBA loan. You have to have business credit to get an SBA loan. It's just impossible to have a FICO SBSS score that's high enough to get one if you don't have established business credit. But even if you have limited or no business credit, then that score starts looking and weighing your personal credit history much heavier. So if you have any business or personal credit issues, you gotta build business credit. Business credit offsets the risk to the lender and makes it easier to get money, especially when you have credit issues. And even if you don't have cash flow, even if you don't have good credit, even if you don't have collateral, you can still get business credit really quick. Like in 30 to 60 days, you're coming in and getting Amazon accounts for 10 grand, 20 grand, $30,000, $50,000. You're getting $20,000, $30,000 at places like Walmart or Home Depot or almost every major retailer. In 30 to 60 days, you can start to get money if you build your business credit today. And then you can start to get Visa cards, MasterCards, auto financing. All of that opens up with business credit. So even if you don't have good credit, don't have cash flow, and don't have collateral, you really want to consider building business credit. It will help you get the capital you need to navigate through this crisis. Okay, the other thing that we're going to look for is collateral. The most common kind of collateral for SBA loans is called account receivables. It means your customers pay you on terms. So let me give you an example. When you enroll with CreditSuite to build business credit, we let you pay over 7 months terms. That's an account receivable. You buy a product and then you agree to pay it over 7 months. We could use those receivables as collateral to get an SBA loan. It's the most popular kind of collateral that's used. You could also use stocks and bonds. You could also use inventory. You could use equipment. You could also use your home as equity. But they're going to want some kind of collateral to use as equity. Okay, and they're also going to want to review your revenue based on your tax returns. They're going to want to look at your actual tax return or your revenue based on your tax returns. Now, typically, when your revenue is declining on your bank statements, you're not going to get an SBA loan. But with the SBA disaster loan, even when they see your revenue is declining, you're still going to be able to get approved. That's what these disaster loans are there for. They know that that's happening, and they want you to have experience in your industry as well. And I don't know why the title says down payment, but here's some things that you need to know. Okay, for loans of $350,000 and higher, you you're almost certainly going to need to have collateral. But if you keep your loan under 350, you typically are not going to need collateral in a lot of cases. So if you don't have collateral, that's okay. Keep your loan amount lower than 350,000. If your business collateral is not enough, if you don't have things like account receivables, then what they'll do is they'll let you use your personal collateral, such as your home, to qualify, for example. Now, Richard says, what's the best loan for a young business? It depends. The best financing I can tell you for a young business, in my opinion, is the 0% credit line hybrid program. And you can give us a ring at the numbers at the bottom of the slide. You can also go to creditsuite.com/get funding. Here's why I like it. The rate's at 0% for up to 18 months. You can't beat that. I mean, you can't beat getting 0% rate for 18 months. It's a credit line hybrid, so you get the benefit of 0% that credit cards give you, but these are credit lines. You could write checks against them. You could take cash out of them. So this is the first place and only place you could take cash out at 0%, which gives you complete flexibility, and you can get approved for $150,000. Your industry doesn't matter. Your tax returns aren't looked at. Your bank statements aren't looked at. It's no doc. So if you have good credit, or a friend, a family member, an investor, anybody that has good credit can sign as a guarantor to help you get that money. And these credit lines report to the business credit reporting agencies. So you're getting 0% money. You could take cash out. You're building business credit, and you can get approved with you and a guarantor. In my opinion, Richard, that's why I think that's the best financing right now. But there's so many different options based on your individual situation. John says, what SBA is unsecured? $25,000 SBA working capital loan. So you can get, and you're talking about the 7M, you can get micro loans directly from SBA up to $30,000 that don't require the collateral. So to answer your question, John, that's called the 7M, or the micro loan. Okay, Credit Plug says 99% of your viewers won't qualify for SBA. It's almost impossible. You need to be well established. That is what we're going over now, and it's not 99% at all. Okay, the reality is there's a lot of different kind of financing that's out there for you that's way easier to get than SBA loans, without a doubt. That's why I teach you the 3C formula: cash flow, credit, and collateral. For SBA, you need all three. You need cash flow, verifiable with tax returns. You need good credit. You need collateral. So it's not 99%, but a smaller percentage of you will have all three of those. Disaster loans make it easier and will mean more people can get SBA loans, but it's still tough. That's why you want to focus on specialized funding depending on the strength of your C. By that I mean, is the strength that you have consistent cash flow? Is your strength that you have good credit or a good credit guarantor? Credit. Is your strength that you have collateral? 401k, stocks, bonds, IRAs. If you have one of those, you can still get another kind of alternative financing, even if you can't get SBA. So keep in mind, if you're watching this and you can't or don't meet these requirements, it's okay. There's all kinds of other money that's available right now based on your cash flow, and or based on your credit, and or based on your actual collateral. Okay, and if you want to know more about that, we just went live yesterday. Look at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CreditSuite. We just went over a ton of funding options yesterday that are available and will work for you in a recession, that are much easier to get than SBA financing. So good point. Miss Janice says, stopping in to say, hey, Ty. Hey, Thanks for stopping in. 7A collateral. Factors considered with reference to collateral. Real estate is very attractive, okay, whether it's personal or business. But if you don't have that, then equipment can work, vehicles can work, okay, stocks, bonds, 401ks, account receivables, any of those kind of things can work for you as well, okay? So there's a lot of different kinds of collateral which may work. So application details. While there can be some differences in applications, they're usually going to ask for an executive summary, business profile, ownership breakdown, what percentage of ownership each owner has, the experience you have. They're going to ask for a resume, for example, and a breakdown of how the funds will be used. I've already touched upon this. What this means is it means that with the disaster relief loans, you can use excuses like that you can't pay your payroll to be able to still get approved for the loan when you can't get normal 7A loans. And they're going to want to know how you're going to repay it. They're going to want to know that you have the money to repay them, as all lenders are going to want to know. Okay, there's a borrower information form they're going to want to know. Okay, all kinds of special information about you as well. They're going to have you fill out these couple things. Form 912. It's a statement of personal history. Okay, they're going to use it to evaluate your character. Have you been arrested for misdemeanors? Have you been arrested for felonies, etc.? Let me tell you where they're verifying this. They're verifying it with LexisNexis. If you've never pulled your LexisNexis credit report, we do this with all of our clients because so many people get denied for loans and credit lines. They're required to do all these crazy things because there's things on their LexisNexis credit reports that they don't know about. If you don't know a lot about LexisNexis, youtube.com/CreditSuite. We've got all kinds of training that teaches you what you need to know about LexisNexis. But they're going to verify what you tell them against LexisNexis. So if you say that you've never had a misdemeanor before and 20 years ago your LexisNexis shows you did, they will then come back to you and make you write a statement to explain why you actually lied to them. So you need to be accurate in this personal history and account for what has happened even 30 years in the past. There's also a Form 413, a personal financial statement that they're going to use as well. They're going to ask about your personal liquidity. They're going to ask about your personal assets, your personal home, etc. And a lot of that is to figure out what they're going to ask for collateral. Now, there is an SBA Form 159 guide as well. It's called a fee disclosure form. Okay, and this is something that you're going to be exposed to when you're applying for these SBA loans as well. So I just want to give you a little bit of an idea here of what to expect when you come in and start applying for these SBA loans. So a lot of things here to know. SBA is one of the hardest type of loans to qualify for because of cash flow, credit, and collateral. All three C's are needed. A lot of you won't have that. If you don't, it's okay. Don't worry. There's a lot of other kind of financing out there that's just based on your cash flow, just based on your credit, or just based on your collateral. If you don't have any of that, you don't have good credit, you don't have cash flow, you don't have collateral, then you want to consider things, alternatives like grants. Go to Grant Watch or go to our YouTube channel and search for grants. We do a lot of funding on different training on different kind of grants you can get. You need to build business credit. Business credit is one of the easiest and fastest ways to get capital right now, and you can call us at 877-600-2487. We will do a quick business credit check to see how established you are now. We'll help you get your DMB and Experian credit reports for free so you can see what's on there, and we'll help you with the process of building your business credit. So if you have no cash flow credit collateral, build business credit. It's an alternative way to get money. If you do have cash flow credit and or collateral, there's all kinds of other funding options that can work for you, and business credit will help you get the best terms. But if you do have all three, cash flow is verifiable per tax returns, okay, good credit, okay, and you also happen to have collateral, then that's when these SBA loans make a lot of sense. Remember to keep your amount under $350,000. That's going to qualify you for an SBA Express loan, which you can get in about a month's time and possibly get you away from needing the collateral. Okay, so if you get over $350,000, you definitely need that collateral. Remember, interest rates on SBA are low. With this disaster relief, you can get them as low as 3.75% for a for-profit company and get terms as long as 30 years to make it easy to get the money that you need and get it at a very affordable payment. Okay, and also keep in mind, SBA loans, there's going to be a lot of paperwork. how fast you get the loan depends on how quickly you get the documents that are requested to you. You're going to submit the loan packet. They're going to come back and ask for documents. You're going to send them the documents. It's going to be a back and forth until the loan closes. We are still seeing loans close in 30 to 45 days if the loan amounts are under $350,000. And I've touched upon few alternatives, but there are thousands out there. Okay, we worked over 1,000 lenders. There's term loans, there's peer-to-peer lending, there's financing. It's just based on your stocks or bonds. There's credit lines for $150,000 that are no doc. There's all this kind of money that's available right now. So if you don't qualify for what we've described so far, then keep in mind there's plenty of other ways that you can get financing. Look, if you are getting in touch with us, we offer every legitimate funding program in one place, and we don't charge you fees for any of the funding we get you. We don't roll fees in on the back end. We don't charge you upfront fees either. The lender pays us a referral fee. You're still going to pay their rates and terms, but we do so much volume that we do use the volume we do with these lenders to get you better rates and terms. So the whole purpose of why CreditSuite exists is so you don't have to look for funding again. And if you don't qualify for an SBA loan right now, then we're going to get you all the money through other sources that you can get. Then we're going to develop what we call a finance blueprint to help you get a roadmap to get an SBA loan. It's one of the things that we're known for. So we're going to get you the money you can get now and develop a roadmap for you to get even more money in the future. So again, our purpose is very simple. We don't want you to have to look for funding. We pulled together over 1,000 lenders, all these loan programs. We're pulling together all the information on disaster relief loans in every single state, so that way one phone call, one source can get you access to the max capital without trying to navigate this difficult landscape. So hopefully this provides a ton of value for you. Now, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, go to creditsuite.com, the top right of our page, subscribe to our channels. Okay, if this made sense, then like the video, please. It helps YouTube see that it will help other people. Subscribe to our channel. We're now going live on YouTube twice a week. We're going live on Facebook twice a week. We're going live on Instagram, which we've never done. We're doing webinars every other week with all the new information about the newest funding that's becoming available. And our YouTube channel has hundreds of videos that give you literally hundreds of different ways you can get financing that most people have never even thought of before, so you can get the money you need. But don't forget, taking action quickly makes sense. You need to do that, because if you don't take action right away, the markets tighten up and it becomes tougher to get access to the money that you need. So top right of our page, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're doing a lot of training and releasing a lot of training right now to help you get the money you need. And of course, if we can help you get money, if you want to get business credit, if you want to get credit lines, loans, anything, then give us a call, 877-600-2487. Email us, info@creditsuite.com, or just visit us online at creditsuite.com as well. Okay, ShireTech says, I'm a transportation business with 7-month cash flow, a credit score over 700 with P&L, and a business for over 3 years. I have $50,000 in cash, but I had a bankruptcy chapter 72 FT. Will I qualify? Yes, you should qualify to still be able to get an SBA loan, but I've still got it. We'd have to look at your credit to see some other factors. Your bankruptcy is old enough where it won't be a factor to disqualify you from qualifying. Everything else you've mentioned here, you should qualify. And by the way, ShireTech, based on what you're describing here, there's multiple funding programs you should qualify for. You probably stand a good chance of getting the SBA disaster loan. You're going to have a good chance of getting the $150,000 in working capital credit lines as well. There's another credit line that's available for $100,000 that what you just described probably will work for you as well. And there's some good term loans and peer-to-peer lending options, which could work could work well for you. So there's a lot of different options that you may have based on what you just described. And Joy says, I need business credit. Please give us a ring, 877-600-2487. We're going to do 3 things on the call. We're going to do a fundability check to see how fundable your business is. We're then going to do a business credit check to see if you're established with the business credit reporting agencies now, help you get a free copy of your business credit report, and we'll even give you tips, tactics, and give you a path forward to help you build business credit. And we'll also qualify you for all financing that you can get now. All of that happens on the phone call with our team. Case. And again, you get a free Experian and D&B report to see what's on there. If you continue to pay for the report after that, it's only $24. Okay, we have the cheap cheapest business credit monitoring anywhere in the country, and we do that through our NAV integration. So if you have any questions, if we can help you get capital, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Visit us online, CreditSuite.com. Make sure you visit our channels on the social side on the top right and keep abreast of what's going on. And soon enough, we will have, probably within a week, an actual full list and a full blog post of all the funding that's available in your state for disaster relief as well. So keep in tune. And King Ty 789 says, which by the way, King Ty, I love your name. What about startups or businesses that have only been in business for less than 6 months to a year? You can't get the SBA disaster loan, but you can get an SBA micro loan, a 7M loan through SBA for 30 grand. That's an option for you. And then there's another great option that I've already talked about, the 0% credit lines for 150,000 in financing. You can get those as a startup as well. There's also other options depending on collateral that you may have. Crowdfunding can work, grants can work, but those are just a handful of the options that could work for you even as a startup. But we do a lot of startup financing, so if we can help you, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, I will be live on Instagram and live on Facebook. My live on Facebook is going to be captivating credit lines you can get right now. Okay, we're going to talk about 15 different credit lines that you can get even in a recession with the coronavirus that you can get right now. I'll be doing that training on Facebook Live. So again, if you're going to CreditSuite.com and you like us on Facebook, that training will start taking place tomorrow at, I believe, 11 o'clock. I will start that training. When I'm done, I'll be moving to Instagram so you can have access to that. So just keep informed by liking our social channels, and you'll see we're regularly rolling out the most up-to-date content with how to get money you need to be able to navigate this. Ted actually just said, yes, Joy said, please, the line is very busy. Yes, it is. So Joy, then send us an email. Keep in mind, our team is overwhelmed right now. We put extra team members on, but if you call and don't get us, just leave a voicemail. We will call you right back if somebody doesn't answer the phone, and you can also send us an email. Ted says, I'm working with Bardwell Creative, an MCA debt relief company. So far, so good. I understand they also use your service to their clients. I can get funding during a debt workout. Yes, you can. Okay, and debt relief companies can help you with mitigating past debt, but yet even if you're in that, you're still able to get a lot of different kind of financing. Not maybe SBA, Ted, but there's a lot of other options that could work for you. So give us a ring, let us know what we can do to help you get financing, 877-600-2487, and keep informed by checking out our YouTube channel and also making sure you follow us on our other social channels. We're talking about loans and credit lines and disaster relief financing that you're able to get right now. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you have a